So let's get started. This is interactive. We are going to be fun. I believe if there's a play shop going on, fun is necessary for learning. Please know that we're here to serve you 110%, and we want you at the end of this to take some action. We're going to share some important information on how to stay balanced for the winter, and we want you to take advantage of that information. So let's get started. So, have you ever wondered if an essential oil really improves your health? Does it really make a difference? And can it support us as the seasons change? Is aromatherapy effective? We're going to answer those questions very quickly. We're going to sniff out some sensational facts. We're going to talk about how essential oils not only enhance our physical well being, but also our mental, spiritual, and energetic wellness. And we're going to really focus on how essential oils can help us navigate this particular season, which is winter. And we're going to talk about how it relates to Ayurveda. And we're going to leave with some very important tips to support you through the winter season. So, you're going to have some tips. You're going to learn about aromatherapy for the winter. And we're going to talk about at the very end some Shankara, beautiful Shankara products that can support you during the Vata season, which is in Ayurveda equated to the winter season. And we're really going to talk about how it can support you, not only physically, but also mentally and energetically. And we're going to really focus on the skin today. So, by the end of our time together, I hope that we will have learned a lot. I know that we're going to laugh a lot, and you're going to walk away with incredibly practical information to support radiant, healthy life for you right now in this instant. So, before we get started, if you can tell me in the chat, or if you want to come off on mute, tell me what part of our anatomy do we smell with? I can't see, for some reason, I can't see the Zoom, the people in the room. But if someone can tell me what part of our anatomy do we actually smell with?
Our
Any guesses?
nose, our nose.
I hear a nose. Anybody else? I hope this is not a shy group.
No, is it the
Take a
brain?
guess.
Is it the brain?
Who said that?
Yeah, Monday Maggie.
Miss Maggie, thank you. You are right. And for whoever said the nose, that's a great guess too. And the nose is an important part of supporting the sense of smell. But Miss Maggie, you are correct. We smell with our brain. And so, how does this work? The nose supports smell because when we smell an object or we smell anything, what is happening is that little molecules are coming off of that. And what the nose does is the nose traps the molecules and helps it to travel up to the brain. And when it gets to the brain, there is something called the olfactory nerve. And the olfactory nerve, it has these receptors, cilias, that are little finger-like projections that grab those molecules, and they initiate the sense of smell. So the nose does support smell, but we actually smell with the brain, specifically with the olfactory nerve. So the nose helps to trap the molecules, and it carries it to the brain for us to activate the sense of smell. Now, what is important to know in addition to that is that the sense of smell, the olfactory nerve, is positioned in a place in the brain called the limbic system. And the limbic system is what we call the seat of our emotions. It is the seat of our memory, our sexual response. It is the seat of our survival. And I'm going to not get too technical, but I'm going to just let you know some of the things in the limbic system so that you get an idea why smell is associated with memory and emotion, etc. So, for example, in the limbic system, we have a structure called the thalamus. And the thalamus relays the sense of smell, and it also helps us somewhat with movement. We also have a very important structure called the hypothalamus. And the hypothalamus is involved with sleep, with our body temperature, and also with hormones. And then we have another structure called the amygdala. And the amygdala is a cluster of nerves, and they are involved with our fight or flight response, as well as our sexual response. And then we finally have the hippocampus, which converts our short-term memory to long-term memory. So because the olfactory nerve is sitting right next to these other structures, it is how smell becomes linked to memory, to our fight or flight response, to emotions, and even our sexual response. So that is how we get the connection between smell and all these other functions of the body. I want to go ahead and define aromatherapy for you. And if you notice, from now you'll get a nice quote on every slide. So enjoy the quotes as well. So when we think of an essential oil, it is really the essence or the soul of a plant. And each essential oil comes from a specific part of the plant. So whether that's the flower, the petals, the leaves, the bark, the seed, it comes from various parts of the plant. And we can inhale it. And once we inhale it, it automatically creates a physiological response. It takes about 20 seconds for it to start creating a physiological response in the body. Or we can apply it topically. And when we apply it topically, putting it on our skin, it goes through our pores and into the blood system. And the impact of that can last about 8 hours in the body. And the difference between an essential oil and a fragrance oil is that essential oils are for therapeutic purposes. They're using the benefits, the properties of the plant and reducing it to its essence and using it for a therapeutic benefit. There are some countries where essential oils are also ingested, but I don't really include that on my definition just because it really does take working with a certified aromatherapist before you would do that. It's very important to know the properties of essential oils, and we're going to talk about some of those properties so that you have an idea. They are very potent, they're very powerful, they're very beneficial, and they can create a specific response in the body. And because of that, we really need to know the properties of the oil that we're using and making sure that we use it properly. So some of the ways to apply essential oils is that, as I said before, we can inhale it. We can also use it in a massage. We usually put it into a carrier oil, which is a nut or vegetable-based oil. We can diffuse it in a diffuser to have it spread throughout a space or a room. We can apply it in our bath. And when you do that in a bath, I really wouldn't recommend that you put the essential oil directly in the bath. I would recommend that you probably mix it in perhaps some Epsom salts. That's a better way of dispersing the essential oils. And I'd also, with everything, really recommend that you know what type of oil you're using, because some of them are very strong and maybe a little irritating to the skin, even though it's something that you like the scent of. So just always be aware of that. You can use it in steam compresses, and if you get regular facials, you can also use it in a facial steam, or your esthetician can use it for you in a facial steam. So this is some of the safety tips. Essential oils are Mother Nature's, one of her greatest gifts to us. And therefore, it is our responsibility to use them wisely and carefully. And my number one rule with essential oils is less is more. Less is more. They're super powerful, they're super beautiful, and we just need very, like, some places, depending on what you're using it from, anywhere from 1 to 2% or 3 to 5% dilution. So less is more. So essential oils are natural, but if you're not using them properly, they can be harmful, especially at specific times during your life. So always perform a patch test. And the best way to do that is to just use it right here in the medial forearm. That's one of the sensitive parts of the body. And as long as you don't have a reaction within 24 hours, typically that means this is an oil that's good for you. Now, there's certain oils that have a tendency to be irritating just because of the oil. They're heating. For example, clove is a very fiery oil, so you might not want to use that directly on the skin. It's always best to dilute essential oils. Many essential oils are not recommended during pregnancy. Some of them are not recommended with certain medical conditions, so it's always best to know the property of the oil. And some essential oils are not recommended for babies, children's, and pets are highly sensitive. They have a high sensitivity with smell, and they may not like it. So you'd have to be very cautious when using essential oils with pets. And of course, I have to say it, essential oils do not replace medical advice. So some of the ways to store your essential oil is to make sure that when you buy them, they're in dark bottles. Usually you see dark brown bottles, you'll see dark blue bottles, and you'll even see green bottles. And sometimes you'll even see purple bottles. Purple bottles are usually the best. Keep them away from any heat or direct sunlight, and make sure that you have what they call an orifice reducer. So an orifice reducer is a little plastic part that comes, and it does a couple of things. Comes at the very top of the bottle. There are two things that it does. One, it allows you to drop the essential oil one drop at a time. And most importantly, it doesn't actually touch, the plastic portion doesn't actually touch the oil. So it doesn't dilute the quality of the oil. Sometimes you'll see essential oils come with droppers um, where I'm trying to think where you also see this in other medications, where they come with droppers that you take out of the bottle and you drop one drop at a time. But sometimes the glass part of that sometimes come in contact with your fingers, your skin, and it can create contamination. So if you have the Euro dropper, it doesn't come in contact with you, your skin, or anything external. So it does not in any way lower the quality or create contamination of the oil. Now, most of us are going to dilute our essential oils in carrier oils. Again, carrier oils are usually nut-based or vegetable oils. So for example, a coconut oil or an almond oil. And if you are in like Miami, where I am, where it's typically hot, you might want to store those oils in your fridge simply because you don't want them to go rancid. So you have these beautiful essential oils and you don't want to drop them into a carrier oil if that carrier oil is also not a high quality oil. So just keep that in mind for storage. So let's talk a little bit about winter season and Vata dosha. Does everybody know a little bit about Ayurveda? Let me hear you say yes if you know, or no if this is the first time you're hearing about Vata dosha. Yes, great. Thank you. All right. So Vata dosha is one of the energies in Ayurveda that focuses on movement, any kind of movement in our external world, in nature, any movement that's within the body that is governed by Vata. The qualities, every dosha has qualities, and these are not all. This is a very short list of the qualities. Vata is cold, it is dry, it is rough, and it is light. And I want you to keep those in mind as we go along. Now, when it comes to seasons, we find that in winter season, particularly late fall and winter, that more of that Vata energy is in nature and in us. And when it comes to the stage of life, we see that there's more Vata energy as we step into our wisdom years or our older years. So when it comes to supporting yourself, what you can do is to keep in mind that when Vata season is here, there are certain things that we can do to balance that out. So let's talk about, first of all, what Vata looks like when it's not in balance. So when it's not in balance, the mind can be very forgetful. It can be very scattered. And someone who has a lot of Vata energy going on, maybe a little bit too much, can present it as someone who's a chatterbox. When it comes to the energetics, Vata, excessive Vata can create anxiety. It can make people nervous or even afraid. And in the body, when we talk about, we're talking about all this movement of the mind, scattered or becoming forgetful. We talk about the movement um, for Vata. When we talk about the body, we see a lot of this dryness as well as movement as well. So in the body, it can present, excessive Vata can present as constipation. It can present as bloating, arthritis, even nervous conditions. For our talk tonight, we're going to focus on the skin. And when we talk about the skin, when there's a lot of Vata, the skin can become very dry. The hair can become dry. It presents as dull. The skin can be flaky, rough. We might notice fine lines. Maybe our complexion is a little uneven. We might notice even our nails becoming brittle. Maybe our lips are chapped. Even our eyes can become dry. So when we think about the skin and we think about Vata, it is presenting as all of this kind of cold, dry, rough energy that we see. Now we're going to talk about what it takes to get it balanced. And if you remember, I asked you to remember some of the qualities. I said, keep in mind that Vata is cold, it's dry, it's rough, and it's light. Light meaning that it's not heavy. And so in Ayurveda, we practice the principle of oppositions, which means in order to balance out Vata, which is high at this time of the year, we would do things that are warm, that are moisturizing, and that are grounding. And so that's what we're going to talk about when we talk about balancing Vata. So when we talk about the mind, remember we talked about a lot of movement. And I don't remember if I said this in the beginning, but we're talking about we're talking about elements of ether and air, which makes up Vata. And when we have excessive um, Vata, and we have the anxiety, and we have the forgetfulness and the scatterness, the excessive movement of the mind, one of the things that we can do to balance it is to create routine. So if we commit to a regular time for eating, a regular time for sleeping, a regular time for work, whatever we're doing, create a little bit more routine to help ground that energy. When it comes to our emotional, our spirit, our energetic bodies, we can talk about practices like pranayama, alternate nose breathing, nidra yoga, that's grounding and restorative. When we do yoga, we can do focus on balancing postures that help to ground us. And because Vata is very much dynamic and creative and artistic, committing and enjoying creative activities also helps to balance. When it comes to the body, one second. When it comes to the body, as I said before, warm, moist, grounding foods helps to support and balance Vata. And because tonight we're speaking specifically about the skin, daily abhyanga, self-massage with warm oil, and oils that are wonderful, and we're going to talk about this later as well. We want oils that are a little heavier, more grounding. Warm baths, warm foot baths, foot massages, and salt scrubs, or just scrubs in general, to help to get off the dead skin during winter time. So those are some of the things that we can use to balance Vata. Now let's talk specifically about essential oils. Now, all of these essential oils, they're going to be warm, they're going to be moisturizing, grounding, and oftentimes a little sweet. So oils that are wonderful for Vata: sweet orange, fennel, ginger, nutmeg, cardamom, and cinnamon. And we see this already in many cultures. In wintertime, we have lots of drinks or food that have nutmeg, cinnamon, and cardamom. Also, anything that's wood, like sandalwood, cedarwood, frankincense, that's very much helping the spiritual, the energetic body to be grounded. Patchouli, vanilla, and even lavender to help relax the mind. This is not an exhaustive list. These are just some of my top picks. If there's an oil out there that you like that helps to keep you grounded, then definitely you can also incorporate it. Now, we talked also earlier about carrier oils, which are vegetable or nut based, and some of the heavier or medium oils that will help with the grounding and the moisturizing. Sesame is a good one for Vata balancing, or walnut, avocado, and almond. So those are some of the choices. Again, not an exhaustive list, but some of the oils that help to ground Vata. Now, this is a list that I share often with classes that I do for estheticians. And you'll see that here, this is speaking specifically for the face. What essential oils will help us maintain our face? So for dry skin, we have frankincense. I'm not going to read the list, but for dry skin, you have oils that you will see that they're helping in some way, hydrating, nourishing, rejuvenating, moisturizing to help with Vata, with dry skin. For sensitive skin, we have some oils here for oily skin and then also for anti-aging. So this is just a little extra information for you. Again, there are more oils that can be used for dry skin, more oils that can be used for anti-aging, but these are some of the top oils that you typically see in cosmetics for skin. In the Shankara products, which I'm sure you know you've probably used, they use the highest quality, not only oils, but also essential oils. So when you purchase Shankara products, you're getting the best of both. Now, if you want to use at home, experiment with essential oils, you can also do that with your coconut oil. The only thing I would say to you is just to think about what the source of the essential oil is. So if you're using something like clove or cinnamon um, or cardamom, we know that as a spice, those are very heating. So when we're using it in an essential oil, it's very much concentrated. So we do want to be careful about how you do that if you're doing it individually. Now, if you're purchasing a Shankara product, it's already diluted to a level of safety for you. So you don't have to be concerned with that. So when we look at Shankara products, we'll see that there's a lot here, and I'm just mentioning in a few. When you go to the website, you'll find a lot more products that will support you in balancing your skin, particularly during winter season. So one of the first products, and this is a list of my personal favorites. So if you have a personal favorite, please feel free to share. So we have the hydrating cleanser. This is one of the best ways to put your best face forward, literally. It is very hydrating, it's gentle, it's very soothing. So even if you are pitta and have a lot of fire and a lot of heat, this would still be something to support you, Divya. And it's also really great for the Vata balancing, Vata during Vata season or just throughout the year. So this is one of the best sellers for Shankara. And actually, it's a great product. Very gentle, but also non-irritating, but also effective in cleaning the skin. The next one is the calming oil. But as you can see, I have calming, soothing, and energizing. So again, it would be what you would need on a personal level. These are the these are created specifically for each dosha. And so the one for calming, you'll find that it has oils and ingredients and herbs that are going to help to ground. Like, for example, you have vetiver, which is a root. And we didn't have a lot of time to talk about essential oils, but one of the tricks you can use, even if you don't know specifically about the oil, is to think about where the oil is being sourced. So vetiver, for example, is a root. So in nature, we take the vetiver root to make the essential oil. And we know anything that is coming from a root tends to be grounding. So for example, if we take an essential oil that comes from the bark of a plant or a tree, the bark is something that protects the tree. It protects it from the external world. And so any oil that comes from a bark usually has some kind of antimicrobial, antibacterial, antifungal quality. So if you know where what part of the plant is being used to create the oil, it will give you some information about some of the general benefits of the oil. So again, you will see things that are very grounding and balancing for Vata. And to Divya's point, if you want to use an oil that speaks more specifically to your dosha, then you will have the soothing for Pitta and the energizing for Kapha dosha. So again, this is the 3 different oils, body oils from Shankara. Alrighty, so let's go to the next one. This one is really great. I think we were talking about exfoliators, and this one specifically for the face. It has very special clinical grade silica crystals, so it helps to slosh off the dead skin and creates a more even balance and tone of the skin. This is also a bestseller. This is something that is really important as we're keeping our skin healthy in the winter. This is a great product to have in our winter repertoire. One of my personal favorites. It's the thing when we're using exfoliators is that they can be a little harsh sometimes. And so you want to be careful about using any kind of harsh exfoliator on the skin. And one of the magic qualities about this particular exfoliator is that it is extremely gentle and at the same time exfoliating. So it's a great combination.
How often can we use
That's a
exfoliant?
great question. And typically, you can use it, depending on your skin, you can use it maybe twice a week. If it's in the winter time, maybe you use it a little bit more. But you have to keep in mind, you're just using a very small amount. When you look at this container, it may look small, but this is a product that will last you because you don't need to use a big amount to have the effect. Okay, so you can use it maybe once or twice a week. And again, it's best. I don't know your skin, so it's best to get a personal recommendation based on your skin.
Thank you.
The next one is the Nourishing Foot Oil. This is also a customer favorite. It is very refreshing. It has a lot of a nice balance of essential oils that are not only moisturizing, but also very invigorating. So, in wintertime, our feet are often locked up with socks, stockings, tights, boots, and they're usually locked up or caged all day long. And so this is a really good oil to use at night, especially after a long day of standing, walking, to refresh the feet. And the feet are also what grounds us to this earth. So it's a great way to help to ground that Vata energy. This is a wonderful nighttime ritual for you to do. The next product that I have is the Ghee Sutra Hand and Foot Cream. This is what Gina was talking about. This, I think, is a product that everyone should have in their purse. Actually, you should just always have this product with you. It is rare to find something of such high quality out there. This is made out of ghee that is 100 times washed, and it's coming from A2, no chemicals, ghee, pure and simple and natural. And it goes through a process that makes this product ultra moisturizing. It is intensely hydrating. So in the wintertime, as I said, this is definitely something that everybody should have in their purse. The Ghee Sutra Hand and Cream. Very, very important in the wintertime. And finally,
How do
and
we use the Ghee Sutra?
you
Like
can
we
use
put it on the feet at night?
you can put it at night. You can put it whenever your feet are dry. I know sometimes in the winter, especially at work, you're not going to be taking off your shoes, but definitely if you do, you could use it. It's not limited to the nighttime. Nighttime is a great time to use it. For the hand, you can use it throughout the day. because in the wintertime, our hands are more exposed than our feet. And so they have a greater tendency to get dry. So you can definitely use it throughout.
Thank you.
Yeah. So it is very, very moisturizing. And in the winter, this is a really great product to have. This is something that it's one of the easiest things to gift people. That's really something that they can benefit from having. So the next product, and as I said, this is just my top picks. If you go on the Shankara website, you'll see a lot more products that will support you in this winter season. And this is another award-winning product, and this is the Kumkumadi oil. And this is a very traditional recipe, Ayurvedic recipe. And it is using some traditional ingredients that really help to support the graceful aging that we are all doing. The reason I wanted to bring up this oil particularly because if you remember, I talked about Vata being a time in our life where we are at our most mature. So we have a heightened Vata during that time, our older years. And so hopefully all of us are here to live a healthy, long life. And one of the things to keep us gracefully aging are things like Kumkumadi oil. That helps with the fine lines, that helps our face to look plump and without wrinkles, and keeping us looking fabulous no matter what age we are. So again, a very traditional recipe that helps to support our health and our graceful aging as we move towards Vata stage of life.